Hey everybody, it's Tess. I thought time to go live. It's almost midnight and I've been involved in some stuff tonight and going back to the book, Courage to Change, and something has come up a lot. Many that know or don't know, I still currently have an accountability partner, the same person I've had probably for the past 2 or 3 years. And we've been talking about something a lot lately, and it's something that is actually in my book, but something I wanted to mention for other reasons today. I think we're currently going into a time period where there's going to be a lot of discomfort. And I think it's going to turn to a better place, but we're going to go through some pain before we get to the better place. And my friend and I, my accountability partner and I, have been talking a lot about coaches or how did I move forward? How did I pick the people that I worked with? And I do have a section in my book. It's actually principle number 4, building meaningful connections. And I've been blessed that I have connected with people, mentors and coaches based on knowing someone and being able to figure out or see what they've done in their own lives, and that they have gotten to positions that are a little bit further ahead than where I've been at. And I've talked about it because my coach and I, or my accountability partner and I, have been talking about where so many people are seeking education, but from somebody who maybe has book learned a particular theory or a method, but they've never actually physically participated. And what I'll tell you is it's a whole lot different, especially in understanding, I've learned a lot about notes, and I'm very interested in notes, but it's something that you have to learn and understand. But you also want to have a coach who's actually experienced things. And the reason you want to do that is because you want to know next steps when things come up. Because I don't always know the right steps. So when I am working with somebody, I don't want someone who's book learned. I want somebody who's been out in the field working on things. And for me, that's been really important. And I am grateful that during the time of lockdown, I was able to watch multiple people before I found who I was going to follow and who I was going to learn from. And anybody who is familiar knows that for mindset on overcoming the thoughts that were blocking me from succeeding in my weight loss journey, it was Doc V. And for money, finances, and looking at that differently, and becoming your own bank and infinite banking concept, and how to vet deals and that kind of stuff, it was the Money School crew, Chris Noggle and Stephen Nagy. Stephen Nagy is my actual original mentor. But my friend and I, or my accountability partner and I, have been talking a lot lately that you really want to know how much in the field work somebody's done before you follow them or even take their coaching programs. Because there are a lot of people out there now that are educated via a book, but wouldn't be a coach. Like for myself, I've done a note, and I've done a few notes for different things I've done, but I would never call myself an expert or present myself that way. I am a student with experience, and I wouldn't try to teach it to someone else because I know that my strength or my 30 years past has been in a different arena. And I think that's so important. And so I decided, since this book is still my fresh thing, I'm going to share some quotes and maybe talk a little bit about them before I sign off for the night. But in building meaningful connections, there was a quote from Tony Robbins that I've actually put in my book. And it's that the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. And your coaching, when you're working with somebody, you want to know what their experience is, not from book learning, but from actual hands-in, hands-on learning. It's like anything that I share in this book. The reason I put just a thread of a story, it's not that I don't want to bore you with all the details of all the things that happened in my life, but I want you to know that I experienced, or that I went through the things that I'm sharing with you. And some of them they're painful, but we all have gone through those things. But I want you to know that what I'm speaking of is not because I read it in a book, it's because I experienced it firsthand, and I had to learn a lesson from it. And learning that lesson prepared me to be stronger the next time I approach it. Another quote in this book, and this one I even talk about in the book, as I brushed it off in the very beginning, because everyone talks about you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that's Jim Rohn. And for me in the beginning, it was difficult because that meant leaving some people behind. And one thing about me is I don't leave people behind. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. But I care about people. I genuinely, truly care about people. And I want to take everybody under a wing. But what I've had to learn is that I'm not the expert in a lot of areas, and I have to defer that to someone else. But I'll tell you what I'm not the expert in and let you know, do I know what it is to fight a weight battle? Do I know what it is to fight an anemia battle? Absolutely. I know those things. Do I know what it is to lose somebody close to you through very tragic circumstances? Yes, I do. But again, these are things that other people have experienced. But those are things that I can speak to from firsthand experience and from living through it. And that's like when coaches and mentors, have they lived through, have they had to experience the pain of the thing that they're teaching you? Are they truly going to be a quality person that can hold your hand when you run into a rough deal? I'll tell you, my first note, I hit just about every wall there could be. But the beautiful thing is I had the right coach. I had a coach that held my hand through it, and we got through the process. And it wasn't an easy process. We had to go through multiple service companies. We had to go through multiple gyrations of reviewing the contracts, but I had the right coach. And it's, to me, very dangerous to think that if I had not had the right coach, I could have been in a lot of trouble. So picking that right coach or that right mentor, or putting yourself in proximity of people that are experienced in what you want to learn about, is critical. And I think it was worse in the beginning of the pandemic. I think it's kind of filtered out now. But in the beginning of the pandemic, everybody became an expert online teaching programs. And I have been guilty too of seeking things, thinking that someone could teach me, because in the beginning I didn't understand digging in and asking some questions so that I really truly understood the quality of the person that was helping me. So another quote, and you're going to know, and it's really funny because now that I'm looking at these quotes that I put in my book, a lot of these quotes are what I learned during the lockdown, like Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. This one's Bob Proctor. These are kind of go-to people that I respect or that I've learned from over time. And Bob Proctor, he says, a mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within you than you see in yourself and helps bring it out in you. And I think that's real important, because I've even talked to my note coach, because I can move forward, and that's something that I can think about. But I got so badly bitten the first time that I became shy about it. And then my life situation changed, and I wasn't in a position to move forward in the same way that I originally went out of the gate. But does that mean I'll never go back? No. But that also means that I'll make sure that I have the right coach if I do move into those next steps. But I just thought that was so important, because it is something that my accountability partner and I have talked a lot about, is that there's a lot of people coaching things, but you really have to ask the questions of what their experience is. How many times have they experienced it? What things have gone wrong? How did they overcome the things that went wrong? What are their true what do they truly have underneath them, that when the foundation is shaking and things are moving, that can help them to hold on? And even if they're not exactly there, who is their network around them to help keep things moving forward? Because that, for me, has been probably the number one thing I've had to learn, is who is it I surround myself with, and what is their experience, so that are they where I'm at, or can they really truly give me that hand up if I'm reaching to try to move myself to the next level? Because I'll tell you, for a lot of what I'm involved in now, I'm not the expert. My expertise was behind a desk for over 30 years, but it gave me a base for what I'm doing now, which is the life insurance agent thing and building the bank policies. I understand a lot of that, and I have a base from where I came from, but my experiences were different. And that's what I'm doing, is taking a base of what I've known my entire career and creating a different way to help people in a different way. But I thought that this was all very important. And the last quote I believe it's the last quote in this particular principle 4 of my book. For those that don't know, my book, my not for resale author copy. Yeah, and I had to have it because I wanted that one that said it was my author copy. But I digress. So one of the last quotes here that I wanted to share is, I truly believe in proximity and being around people that are doing things that you want to do. People that can help you with a hand up when you're not sure what the next step is. But understand that that means you need to do the work. You need to learn. You need to understand. And you're going to have to experience it, and it's not always going to be a pretty journey. There's going to be pain involved. But Helen Keller had a quote, and this quote it spoke to me, obviously, or I wouldn't have put it in the book, but it's, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And that was one of those things that I had to learn, because prior to the lockdown, I really truly didn't feel like I could trust anybody. So I was always under the idea that I had to do it alone. So it was during that time that I first started reaching out and finding coaches and mentors, and actually creating a new circle for myself, exactly what the Jim Rohn quote says, you know, the 5 people that you surround yourself. I created a new circle for myself, but it meant that I spent hours listening to training programs and learning and understanding, because who speaks to me as a coach, or who speaks to me as a knowledgeable person, may be different than who speaks to you. And that's what you have to find, is who is the person that you can work with, that you trust, and that will allow you to sleep at night. So I hope you find this useful. And again, thank you for everybody who has purchased the book. It was a labor of love. I wrote it about 2 years ago, and then I have mentioned that Bob McIntosh, who is the CRM manager for Chris Noggle, challenged me to get it out. And bless his heart, I appreciate him so much, because I fear it might still be sitting on the shelf over there if he hadn't have challenged me to get it out. But what it allowed me to do is, through him pushing me forward, I connected with the right people, which is my publisher, Jennifer Bowerman, and we put the ribbons on the book so that I could get it to print. But it's never been alone. Everything that I've accomplished in the past 5 years hasn't been alone. It's because I've surrounded myself with people who have done it before, who've been able to give me a hand up, and who have experienced the things that I'm actually going through right now. So I hope you guys find this useful. Have a beautiful night. And I made it just 10 minutes before midnight. So thank you so much, and we'll talk tomorrow. Thanks.